What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. So when it comes to Batman, I'm watching that tonight, and I'll have my review up tomorrow. I do want to join in on the spoiler talks, the rankings of everybody ranking it. I'm seeing a lot of people ranking it as number 2, but we'll get to that. Right now, I wanted to review Jeenyuhs, a Kanye trilogy, and just telling myself, watching this over the past 3 weeks, really seeing the musical genius in Kanye. And I love Cootie's footage. Like I said, I mentioned in my trailer reaction, a lot of that footage that we saw in Through the Wire for many, many years, we finally got to see that actual documentary. And I was like, it was well worth it. So inspiring, so just captivating, because, and at points, a tearjerker, because when you seen Kanye with his mom, like the first episode really captivated me when Kanye got all that hate, with his first time really coming back to Chicago, and all the producers, and like the dude he dapped off was, the same person made a diss record, and you could tell he was lost. Like he was like, man, like what the hell? Like I'm trying to put the shot on, and here y'all go with this. And then you go see him go to his mom Donda's house, and man, like the words that she gave him, our moms aren't talking to us like that. And that is such a contribution on how he is today. Like, it's just, you see how he's so grounded with her, or he was always looking for her words of wisdom. And I love that. And you could just see even the older cast was like, man, I took your mom, at I think she like Chicago Junior College or something like that. Like, man, it was like she's a professor. Like, I took her, and you could tell she was always with the game, with the knowledge. Like, when I tell people, it's hard to give guidance, you see that she guided him his whole life, because you could see that he's the only child. She told him she knew exactly who he was. Very self-absorbed person, very self-aware person, but she knew how to guide him. She was like, man, you only have one kid because you enough. You enough for two kids, and I was like, you just seen that. And I just tell myself, shout out to Cootie for this, because Cootie was really, really put his career on hold to follow Kanye West with a camera back in '98, knowing this man's going to be a genius and he's going to blow up. So I'd rather document him early on just to see him blow up, and lo and behold, just to see where he goes. And things about Kanye I never knew is, his first big track on a major album was that Jermaine Dupri. I still remember that, that Money Ain't a Thing with Jay-Z. Like, I really wanted that album. And just to see Kanye West produce a track on that album, that was major. And you seen his struggles with All Falls Down in the Rockefeller office. Everybody's not listening to it, not buying it. That was kind of like, really? Like, this man, especially his first 3 albums, is considered a class. All 3 classics. All 3. That's crazy. From College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation. Like, those are classic Kanye albums. And nobody at that time really wanted to hear that producer, rapper type of mode. And then, like I said, it didn't fit what Rockefeller was doing, because Rockefeller was all street. It was gun bars. It was the dope selling, and he was coming with the backpack raps and self-conscious on the thing. He had a song about his mama, got a song with Jesus Walks. So it was totally different from what Rockefeller wanted, and that's kind of why he got put on the back burner. And you just seen that man just believed in himself. And watching this, people's like, I miss the old Kanye. And I'm like, no, Kanye's been Kanye this whole time. But you see the impacts of him losing his mom. And like I said, I'm like, it's crazy to see in episode 2 and episode 3 where Cootie is kind of not around him anymore, not involved, like especially for that late registration. Like that late registration or right before Kanye really got on tour for College Dropout, Cootie was nowhere to be seen. And it was basically, it's like you got to work with other videographers. And so Cootie had to really go find time to find out who he was, but I shout out to Kanye for always kind of keeping him around. Be like, hey, look, man, you got early footage of me and documenting me, so you're truly valuable. And then the fact that, when you made that through the wire with Chike, a lot of other people wanted to work with Cootie, so that kept Cootie in business. And I was telling myself, I'm like, that man has a lot of patience for Kanye West. And you can just tell from College Dropout to Late Registration. Late Registration is really, you seen Kanye morph into that A-list celebrity. You're around all these famous people. You're probably doing drugs, all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that played an effect on his relationships where you kind of messed over Cootie. One thing that really stood out to me was when he was, Cootie interviewed him for the Late Registration, and Kanye West was like, oh, I'm drunk. Yeah, I'm calling him Chike. And Cootie was kind of like, man, you know who I am, bro. And it was like, he was like, man, F you. And I was like, man, bro, like, look at this, man. Like, look how you treating one of your day one partners. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really hurt me to see that. And seeing Cootie kind of like, I feel played. And just right after that, he was like, I didn't see Kanye West for like 6-7 years. But he touched on his life, had kids, and, with his family. And I was seeing people though, I didn't like the fact that, Cootie was putting his, but it's like, no, it's from his storytelling, from his angle, from his camera angle. Like while he was doing this, I don't want you guys to ask, well, what was I doing the whole time he was doing that? I'm like, I started a family, did my own thing. So it was like a brief montage of 2 minutes of his life. And then lo and behold, he kind of runs around Kanye West again, with Common doing the festivals, and he was like, okay, well, pick it up here and there, be around Kanye. Kanye West will call him for certain things, and hey, you got the old footage. I want to bring that for this, even with his mom when she was alive, with Kanye West's organizations, like, man, Cootie has some old footage. We can put that in there. So Cootie was always in and out. Like, kind of after that 6-7 year span, he was always in and out with Kanye West. And it just got to that point where, when Kanye West started tripping, he lost his mom. You kind of seen him grieving. You seen that process. And Cootie was kind of like, man, you can see how angry he is, basically. And just even later on when he was talking about with the bipolar. And I still remember with Kanye West with the Glow in the Dark tour, when he started doing all the rants, and I was kind of like, man. And you can see Cootie when he's recording him, it got so bad that Cootie couldn't record him anymore. Like, he just had to put the camera down. Like, man, the energy shifts, and now it's kind of like, man, Kanye West, he just lost that guidance from his mom. You could tell his mom was truly his anchor. And yeah, but at the same time, I tell myself what Rhyme Fest said, like, who are you to call yourself a genius? And looking at it now from back then, yeah, I can say Kanye West is a genius. Because all genius, the only thing that makes a person a tyrannical, mad, oh, he's a mad hatter, or he's a mad person, madman, versus a genius is just their behavior, and I sit there and tell myself, I'm like, it's a lot that he went through, it's a lot that he goes through, but nevertheless, Kanye West is always going to be deemed a musical genius. Like, that's just that. But all in all, I really, really love this documentary. It was very inspiring. Behind Janet Jackson's documentary, I really feel like this probably would trump Janet Jackson's documentary. Janet Jackson's documentary was more in-depth personal look at her life because she's been so private, versus Kanye West being so public, but we still didn't know who the old or the real Kanye West was, the behind the scene Kanye West, and we finally got that with Cootie. And then it was basically an inspiration story of coming of age, You seen him from the bottom. Now we made it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really, really love this. I'm so glad that they came out with this. And I'm so glad that Coodie, for this pandemic, because that's when Coodie had started this. And that's what kind of got Coodie around Kanye West again, because he was like, hey, look, I got like a 7.5-hour documentary for all the old stuff that we did. You know, I want to see what we can do with it. And shout out to Kanye West, because Kanye West is really that type of person who's like, I'm not going to be the only one rich in the room. I want, you know, from all you guys to be around me, I want you guys to be rich too. So you could tell that he was drafting up the contracts for Coodie's documentary way back when, like 2019, 2020, something like that. And finally got it to Netflix. And I really, really hope Coodie made his millions, or at least a lot of money off of this. I am here for this. Everyone checked it out. I know you guys checked it out. Post a comment down below if you liked my review, or what was your favorite part of the review, or something that I left out of my review. Just post down below. And like this video, share this video, and subscribe. It's your boy, D Dyson. Peace.